Good morning. I'm Bear, founder and CEO of RefugeMedical.com, also known as Bear Independent here on the internet, on the YouTubes. What I want to talk to you all about this morning is very simple, but not very easy. Don't quit. That's all. Don't quit. Especially given the economic climate that we're in, that we're headed into. Especially given all the pressures of the socioeconomic, global, geopolitical situation. I know, $50 words, right? Given the fact that the world is stupid, and it's probably going to get stupider, now is not the time to quit. There's a lot of people, and this is going to be a bird walk, so I'm going to need you to bear with me on this, all right? There's a lot of people who literally or figuratively have never been punched in the face. Life has never actually kicked their ass. And as a result, their fight or flight is not adequately developed. These are my observations. If it hits you in the feels, so be it. Their fight or flight is not adequately developed. All they have is flight. It gets hard, so I run. That is not an option that's afforded to a lot of people, myself included, right? I have a wife, I have children, I have land, I have animals to steward, I've got businesses and ministries. I don't get to run. I don't get to run away or give up because it's hard. Flip that blue book open. Point to a single verse where it says, because God loves you, life is going to be easy. It says the opposite. My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. Right? It says that you will suffer and be persecuted for your belief. Doesn't say it's going to be easy. Watering complete. Y'all want to see the meatheads? I know you do. Ta-da! And there's what the sky looks like today. It's going to be a beautiful day. Partly sunny. False weather prophets say a high of 77 degrees today. Praise the Father. None of us are guaranteed an easy ride. And in fact, easy is bullshit. Because easy doesn't build character. Easy doesn't allow you to identify your strong points and your weak points. There's no good after-action report on easy. Because what do you analyze? If everything goes perfectly, what lessons can you learn? Nothing. And so a lot of people haven't been punched in the face, literally and figuratively. I've been punched in the face a lot. Literally. I was talking with a brother yesterday. This is not my first rodeo. This economic downturn doesn't scare me. Do I have concerns? Yeah, I have concerns. I run businesses and ministries, all of which are completely dependent upon cash flow. But if we're going to go take one step up from there, they're completely dependent upon the Father. Right? And cash flow, revenue, if you read that blue book, it makes it absolutely clear that the reason you are blessed with revenue and in excess of the work of your hands is to be a blessing to others, right? So there's no greed nor want of gain here. It's to be able to put a significant, meaningful covering over the people that I love, to provide for, protect, and bless the people who work with us, and to be able to continue to bring a good word and a good product and good works to y'all, right? And that's in the Father's hands. But see, He creates the opportunities for us to be obedient and therefore experience His blessings, even if it's scary AF, man, or uncomfortable, or you don't think you can do it. You're right, you can't alone, not without Him. Not without His provision, protection, and blessing. You're right, you can't. But But see, this isn't my first rodeo. I started my first business when I was 17, after working full-time from the age of 15 to 17. I grew up poor white trash, man. Poor white trash. Although my father had excellent work ethic. He also is the one who punched me in the face every day. So what do you do with that, right? How do you take it seriously? How is it meaningful and impactful to you when the person who says they love you also punches you in the face every day, right? Well, learn the lessons that are worth learning. Discard the rest of that bullshit, right? Because it's all lessons. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have a high level of work ethic. Good lesson from Pop. I'm gonna have flexibility and ingenuity. Good lesson. I'm gonna learn how to pivot when things get hard. Good lesson. I'm gonna never give up. I'm gonna never quit. Good lesson. I'm not gonna punch my children in the face. Bad lesson. Breaking generational curses, right? Like, I'm not gonna subjugate the people in my house. Bad lesson. Not gonna do that, right? But I grew up freaking poor white trash, man. Occasionally, my dad would have a windfall, right? And we would move up the economic spectrum from poor white trash to lower middle class for a while, until we were just poor white trash again. Bad stewardship, right? Excellent work ethic, bad stewardship. Lessons learned. But he never freaking quit. Never one time can I remember that man quitting. He had a work ethic second to none. In fact, I had one of my guys at the company yesterday was telling one of our teammates, he's like, hey, if you think the op tempo around here is crazy, that's because of the culture that the CEO, me, has created. And this guy was saying, he goes, I'm lucky if I can do 10% in a day of what the boss does. So don't bitch to me about how busy it is or how, what the workload is, blah, blah, like, pfft. And I think to myself, my work ethic is probably 1/10 of what my old man's was. Now, how much of that is just, insecurity and the abstractions of time, misremembering. But what I do remember is that man, for all his faults, never gave up. Not one time. I remember, we baled hay in upstate New York. It's one of the many things that we did to make ends meet. We had everything we needed except money, right? We had food, we had clothes, we had shelter, we had land, we had animals. So we didn't, trying to rub 2 pennies together to get a nickel, right? And rabbit hole, that motivates me because I understand the pain and anxiety of being freaking poor. And I don't intend to be poor ever again. I'm not okay with that. That pain motivates me to not be in that position again, to raise my children up in the way that they should go so they do not depart from it when they are older, and to also create economic opportunities for them and to create generational wealth through our businesses, while conversely not spoiling them because they need the hardship to appreciate the good stuff, right? But I remember being a kid, we were selling 50-pound square bales. No, 60-pound square bales for $3. And I don't remember why, but I believe my little sister, one of my little sisters, got a gerbil. And we were in the pet store looking at gerbil stuff. And they had these little bales of hay, like the size of a loaf of bread. Gerbil hay, guinea pig hay, rabbit hay, for like $6. And I remember my old man looking at that, and I could see the wheels turning. And he went home, and he went out in the barn, got a sheet of plywood, and a circular saw, some nuts and bolts, some ratchets, and an industrial paper cutter, big paper cutter with the handle, and he built out of 3/4 plywood and nuts and bolts and screws a chute. And he got a bunch of, they were like bread bags, like you'd put a loaf of bread in. And he printed up some labels. I forget what the hell they said, Sam's Hay or something like that. And we took our $3 per 60-pound hay bales, and we pull them off one fleck at a time. A fleck is the little subset of hay, you know, the cubes of hay that come out when you open up a hay bale. One fleck at a time, me and all the other kids, we laid them on this paper cutter, and cut them into 2 to 3 inch long pieces, chopped it all up. Then we would flop that hay into the chute that he made, and it had a big handle on it. And you'd compress the handle like that and pack it into a little tiny bread-sized hay bale, and then open up, there was a gate at the end of the chute, open up the end of the gate, pull your bread bag over the top of it, hit the handle again, and it would push that little hay bale into the thing, slide a label in it, spin it up, put a bread tie on it, and stack them up. And we made pallets. I don't know how many hundreds, maybe thousands of little tiny hay bales, which he wholesaled to I don't know how many dozens of pet stores for $4 a bale. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think we got 30 of the little bales out of each of the big bales. So instead of $3 a bale, with some labor, mind you, child slave labor, with some labor and ingenuity and a little bit of cost for the bags, the labels, the bread ties, he turned that $3 a bale into $120 a bale. He never freaking quit. And with everything we've got going on in the world today, my encouragement to you is don't quit. Pivot. If you got to do something different. My dad was in the telecommunications and power construction industry, and we're in the barn making mini hay bales. Right? Like, again, we had everything we wanted but money. Like, there was a whole barn full of semis and dump trucks and you know, Pittman Polecat digger trucks and Telstra T40C bucket trucks and ditch witches and John Deere dozers and Tico vibratory cable plows and Case 580 backhoes and yep. And no money in the bank. I can't really explain that, because to me now it's like, yeah, that won't happen on my watch, right? Again, lessons learned. But he pivoted from that to go and learn how to make mini hay bales to feed his family. The same family that he punched in the face every day. Explain that one. I don't get it. I can't explain that one. Other than when he was an older man before he died, I went to his house. And I got a 30-pack of Budweiser, and we sat down in the living room, and I said, hey, Pop, you are too old for me to beat the shit out of, and I am too old for you to beat the shit out of. So we need to figure out how to work this thing out. And we spent like 8 hours in his living room drinking those Budweisers, laughing, crying, confessing. And of course, generational curses. You wonder why I'm so passionate about breaking generational curses with the work that we do with Caleb House and Grindstone. I come to find out that my grandpa, that I thought hung the moon and the stars, was the coolest old cowboy that ever walked the face of the earth, beat the shit out of my dad every day, until my dad ran away from home at the age of 15. Started splicing cable for Harris McBurney. They fired him a week before his 18th birthday when they found out. They hired him back the day of his 18th birthday. By the time he was 19, he had half a dozen contract cable splicers working for him. By the time he was 20, he had his own telecommunications construction business. By the time he was 25, he was doing power construction and telecom in 11 states. He was poor white trash too. He made it. I was poor white trash. And I'm not here to say I've arrived. I've still got my issues. But I'm not poor white trash anymore. And so wherever you may have started in life, you're just getting started, brother or sister. I don't care if you're 60 years old, you're just getting started. Do you think it's an accident that the Father created you for this time with these life experiences? It's just serendipity, coincidence? Or do you think maybe He's building towards something bigger in you, with you, through you? By, with, and through, right? Don't quit. Don't give up. Just because it's hard. Good. Glad it's hard. Hard means you will value the lessons and the fruit that come from whatever it is that you're endeavoring to do. And it ain't going to get any easier. It doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. I guess I'll end with this. He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. Learn to steward what you've got. Learn to execute on what you've got before you ask for more. Because more will be given to you when you learn to be thankful for what you've got now. Even if what you've got now seems to be a pain in the ass, or fill you with anxiety or dread or fear. Not an accident that you've got that. Learn to steward that with thankfulness, and then you will get more and more and more and more. He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. That's the word that the Father put on my heart to speak to y'all today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to everybody who supports the show. Thank you to everybody who supports our ongoing missions at Grindstone Ministries. Thank you to everybody who supports our small businesses, especially Refuge Medical. There's 20 people, 20 families that eat, pay their bills, save for their kids' education because of you. There's 24 people who are in our care right now who were in a really, really, really bad place until righteous men by the conviction of the Father showed up to bring them out of that, to steward them now, to put them back together again because of you. Can't do this without you. And I want you to be strong in the doing of. Don't quit. Shalom.